Getting started with data sufficiency. Data sufficiency. There are two main parts to a data sufficiency question. First is the question. There is a question to answer. So this is the first part, and the second is the statements. One and two. The statement enables you to answer the question or consider the statement as resources. There are also 5 answer choices that are always the same, especially for the GMAT. A is correct if statement 1 alone is sufficient, but statement 2 is not. B is correct if statement 2 alone is sufficient, but statement 1 is not. When statement 1 and statement 2 are sufficient on their own, then D is the answer. When statement 1 and statement 2 are not sufficient, in fact, it is only when statement 1 and statement 2 are not sufficient that you will consider option C and option E. If both statements 1 and statement 2 combined together are sufficient, but alone they are not, but when you combine together they become sufficient, then C is correct. But even when you have combined together they are still not sufficient, then E is correct. It will be helpful to memorize this. In the actual test, these options are repeated, but most books, to keep things simple or to save space, these options are usually not included. Now let's go. For this presentation, I want to focus on missing variable as the basis of determining whether a statement is sufficient or not. So each of these questions, I will present a missing variable and use this as the basis for our answer. The first question here is the same thing as question 2. Yes, if you have the 13th edition of the official guide, OG simply means official guide. On page 275, question number 2, data sufficiency. What percent of a group of people are women with red hair? Of the women in the group, 5% have red hair. What is missing here? We don't know the percentage of the women. Assuming the women we are, let's say 40%, then we'll have said this will have been 40% times 5%. That is 40% times 5%. So something is missing here. Total number of women are also the total group size. They are both missing. So this is not sufficient. Of the men in the group, 10% have red hair. Alright, but they were asking us of women, not men. So this is not sufficient. Okay, now let's combine together. Combining together is still not sufficient. But assuming we are told that 10% of the group are men, that will have helped us to say that the remaining 90% are women. So this is still not sufficient even when combined together. So we are going to say this is E. In a certain class, one student is to be selected at random to read. What is the probability that a boy will read? If you look at statement 1, 2/3 of the students in the class are boys. Yes, this will give us what we are looking for, because let's imagine that we have 90 students. Then 2/3 of 90 will be 2/3 of 90, 2/3 times 90. 2/3 will be 60. That means the probability is desired over total. That will have been 60/90, still the same 2/3. So this is sufficient. 10 of the students in the class are girls. This one is not sufficient. What is missing? The number of boys. So we conclude that the answer of this one is A. Remember, I'm just giving you a guide on what to think, or what you look for. Look for if there is something missing. Next question. For which type of investment, J or K, is the annual rate of return greater? For this question, we know J, we know the return for J, we know the return for K. It is sufficient. Looking at statement 2, we only know K, but we don't know J. What is missing? What is missing is J. So this is not sufficient. So the correct answer is A. Next question. If Pat saved 600 of his earning last month, how much did Pat earn last month? Pat spent half of his earning last month for living expenses. So we can start this way. Pat saved half, so that means half is remaining. Half is remaining. Remaining is half P, okay, for living expenses, and save 1/3 of the remainder. Remember, he saved half of P for living expenses, and save 1/3 of the remainder. How much did Pat earn last month? So Pat saved 1/3 of the remainder. That is, let me put this in a better way. Let's start with P. P times half is remaining. This is the amount that is remaining. Then 1/3 and saved 1/3. So he saved 1/3 of it. That is times 1/3. And this amount is equivalent to 600. Remember, in data sufficiency, we don't need to get the actual answer. P times half times 1/3 equals 600. We can surely solve for P. So statement 1 is sufficient. Let's see statement 2. Of his earning last month, Pat paid twice as much in taxes as he saved. What is missing here? What is missing is living expenses. We don't know is missing. Also, the amount Pat spent, the amount of taxation is also missing. Okay, I will have maybe it will be easier to say that tax is missing. That means only statement 1 alone is sufficient. Of course, so watch this. So only statement 1 is alone. When only statement 1 alone is sufficient, don't forget that the answer is A. Next question. What is the value of n in the list? N 15, 12, 9, 20. What is missing here? What is missing is that we don't know the specific value of n, because right here n can be 13, 14, 15, 16. So we don't know the specific value. For this video, I'm just focusing on what is missing, but it is also useful maybe to know that in data sufficiency we are looking for a specific value. The value shouldn't be a middle term. It shouldn't be true sometimes, false sometimes. So we don't know. The specific value is missing. So this is not sufficient because we don't know what is the value of n. Since n can be 13, 14, 15, 16 down to infinity, which particular value? So we don't know. The median of the number in the list is 13. Yes. And there is a little theory here anyway. The theory states that given, or say in an odd set, comma, the median must be part of the set. See what they're saying. Let's say you have 3 numbers. Odd set means, all the numbers like 1, 3, 5, 7. Let's say you have 3 numbers. You can use random numbers. Okay? 3, 19, 21. Arranged in ascending order. So 19 is part of this set. It's also the median. But what if we have so this is odd. This is odd. But what if we have something like, what if we have let me change this color. What if we have 3, 6, 6, 7? This is an even set because 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the median is 6 because 6 plus 6 is, the median of odd set will be the median of the 2 middle numbers. 6 plus 6 is 12, divided by 2 is still 6. Now the median is part of this. But what if we now have 3, 5, 6, 7? The median now is 5.5. 5 plus 6, so the median here is 6. The median here is 5.5. But you know that 5.5 is not part of the set. But if it is an odd set, the median is always part of the number. So this is sufficient. This is not. And the answer is B. Alright, what we have covered so far about percent, what you can start thinking about percent. A missing variable can be the percent of the subgroup, a total from parts, comparison. So I hope you do check this out. If you need this cheat sheet, you let me know. So watch this video, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Thank you. See you next time.